Okay. Hello. 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 Okay. So I was looking at the internet regarding Antifa and their movements and their stipulation of what they call fascists. In history, fascists were dictatorial rulers that were associated with Italy. Italy is a really strong country because of the Catholic Church and their practices. They're also into vampirism, and this plays into their dictatorial leadership back then when they had it. If they have it now, I don't know. But Antifa is saying that they are against fascists, which, if fascists is what they're claiming, that people, even I've been called a fascist, but they're calling everyone in the country who has authority and does normal American traditional things a fascist. And I'm not sure why they're doing so, except disestablishmentarianism, which was a thing back in the 70s, my mom said, and it has gone on, apparently not, it apparently is not stopped. Um, there are active groups that I've seen that have um, been destructive of me in my noggin and my body, and these people are very destructive, which I was talking in the mental health with an Antifa member, which I am not, but there were some members there, and I questioned them. I asked them what they're experiencing that they call the people around here fascists, and it's simply put, they said, as the same definition as what I posted on my subreddit, Jonathan's Posts, as you'll see it there. Jonathan's Posts is live on Reddit. It's a subreddit community. You can look there. I just started last night, and I have two interesting posts that we're talking about today. And I just wanted to touch base with all of you on YouTube about this, as I'm going into a job called Night Rider. It's a bounty hunting service, but I was gonna do some ham work, but once I get a call sign, they're gonna test me and such. So what happens with things here, Antifa has been making into a couple, three different divisions of themselves. They're not just raising awareness of this fact, they're actually taking, and they were part of the riots that happened in Orange County, in my town here. It was at night and we had our power, but the electricity turned down. The electricity turned off, and we were stuck in the pitch black dark, and it was extremely scary because I am a city boy and I've never been in the pitch black dark before, and it's just scary. But there was a definite sound from the west, and there was light over from the west, and there was all this sirens and all this racketing noise of fighting, and it was disturbing to me, to say the least. It was extremely disturbing, but the lights went out in our complex, and we had ourselves to ourselves here. But I'm glad I'm not living where I used to live when I was a kid, because that was the epicenter. That was the epicenter. And I'm not going to say the complex name, but they were in very bad shape. So Antifa has three different divisions. And then there's Marlowe. Now, if you guys know that name, not that great, but if you're cops, I'm sure you'll know that name. Marlowe is the Generation Y, the Generation X, my generation, but the in-betweeners, a little bit younger than me. Those ones are the Antifa. Is a little bit younger than me, but still my generation. It's the in-betweeners. Now, I'm Generation X, which means millennial. I'm 32 years old currently. So Marlowe is Generation Y. Antifa is in between Generation Y and Generation X. So if I was born, I was born 1993. So if a person in between has to be considered in between my generation and the Generation Y, then they'll be born about 1997 to 1999, and those ones are the in-betweeners. So that demographic is what we're looking at as far as generation of Antifa. The picture in my mind of Antifa is homeless, slacking people of the generation that I said that are not liking living with their parents, and they have extreme hatred in themselves because of what their parents and other lawful superiors have chosen for them. Because of what they have chosen for them, they call, by the definition, these people fascists. Now, like I said before, anyone doing traditional American, let's just say, service, like, say, law enforcement, military, fire department, militia, all that's traditional American, these people don't like it. These people don't like that. So since these people don't like traditional American, it's treacherous against the Constitution for these people in these groups to be operating. Anyone who says aught against traditional American things, such as law enforcement, fire department, militia, military, all of those things are protected things, and anyone who says aught against them is treasonous. It's treachery. It's treason. It's called high treason, and it's a very hefty charge, and it's punishable by death. Now, if a person's blocking someone from getting into these fields, then even any job, then the person blocking them is obstructing. It's called obstruction of justice, obstruction of duty, and obstruction of work, which is constituting high treason. So when Antifa goes against these, or anyone goes against these traditional American principles of traditional things that we have in our law and government and practices and such, even private investigation, it still is high treasonous. To George Washington, it would make him throw up in horrible disgust because it's treasonous. That's what treason does to a official, is it disgusts them. And disgusting people, whoever disgusts them, asqueroso if you speak Spanish, not that I can't talk, but um, if something is gross, then in an unlawful way, then usually it's punished. What's the punishment? Well, it's in the penal code book. You can look it up in the library. Um, good thing Ben Franklin said, "Fart proudly," because that's not disgusting, even though it stinks. But anyway, um, breaking the law is disgusting. That's what we say. It's not illegal to fart. Because I know some of you are going to say, "Oh, he said I can't fart, it's disgusting." Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. Marlowe's gang is into berserking. Berserking is a tactic that a tactical team uses to access a place, compound, house, building, whatever. It's called storming. And storming is a tactic that tactical teams of law enforcement and military use to secure a location. When a gang berserks something, then it's felony assault and possible terrorism. 9/11, September 11th, 2001, that event can be considered a berserk, but not in a boots on the ground way. It was in the way of an implement, meaning that they used a plane or an airplane, a jet plane, a Boeing plane to berserk and sabotage a building. So, berserking is considered guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare is a very high treasonous charge. Any gang war is high treason. It's multiple counts of felony assault, battery, because they pummel and they use firearms, which ruins that practice for the rest of America. When a criminal uses a gun, a firearm, for their crime, then it is ruining it for the rest of us who may want to go hunting, since we can't use something in the same model that the criminal has used. So, in that way, it's ruining everything of the fun of getting a deer or a duck or whatever for the rest of us, which makes angry American, which is why we have such camaraderie on the radio, which is probably why I have no viewers at this point in this live stream. At least I can't see that anyone's commenting. Anyway, so Antifa is doing illegal activity, even though they're not heisting things, maybe, even if they are, or if they're not, it doesn't matter. They're still their principles, their things they believe in, and their morals and status. They are criminal because they're high treasonous. Now, the other thing on my post. All right. Misuse of weaponry. There was an active shooter in Midtown Manhattan, they said. I took a screenshot. Google coincides with saying that they, in their seeing of the law, don't stipulate anything that disembarks the person from opening fire. However, what my grandpa taught me is that when you're in a crowd, you hold that gun away from anyone because it's loaded, right? It can be loaded at any time. It's supposed to be treated as it's loaded, which Google says. But he said to me, do not ever open fire in anger or in any hostility in a city, rural, urban, suburban, or on any American soil. Do not take down and shoot Americans in any way for any reason. This means that he forbade me in the teaching that he gave me. He forbade me from harming another human. That's the rules that I had learned and I follow. As of right now in my town and community, I haven't found the need to have or use a firearm. I don't go hunting because I just haven't had the time, the money, or the ability to. But it's not like we have deer in our front yard. I have to go a long way out if I'm going to go hunting, which I haven't gotten there. Anyway, doesn't mean I don't know how to use them. I'm not inept, guys. Firearms are supposed to be treated like a loaded weapon all times. Firearms are capable of killing and injuring and reaping, they call it. Means they're dead, they're gone, they stop breathing, their heart stops beating, their blood comes out of them, and they're dead. That's what a firearm does. Now, what do we need them for? Deer hunting, any hunting of meat, food, animal, to put meat on the table for us to eat. Service weapons. Service weapons are special weapons that are designated by the government. I thought we just had a spook here. I've been seeing some ghost activity around. Designated by the government to be used by officers, agents, and other officials in their duties. They're not used for any hunting of animal. Now, trag darts, yeah, that kind of weapon is for darting an animal to put him to sleep. Military weaponry, militia weaponry. We'll touch on militia after I touch on this. Military weaponry is to be used on the battlefield. So you can't just have one gun for everything. You have to have specific guns for specific things. The indication that you're not sane to have firearms is when you want to use them for everything. That is the indication. When you can't wait to use them on anything that moves. Oh, there's a rabbit. Gotta shoot it. Oh, there's a squirrel. I gotta shoot it. I'm not hungry. No, I just gotta have it. That is gun crazy. That is craziness. You don't do that. If you get angry, put the gun away. That's the best thing I can say. You know it, Sable. The cat agreed with me. See? He agreed with me. Yes, he meowed. Yes, Sable, exactly. Okay. So, this lesson about firearms, I hope it gets to all of you. Now, militia. Militias are a band of brothers and sisters that are commonly called employees and co-workers. Every company, like say St. Joe's Hospital or Denny's or Panda Express or Calvin Klein, all of those are militias. Every one of those people are militia members. Those members are legal people. They are capable for freedom. They can work. They're militia. They have a purpose. Denny's cooks food. They serve food. Calvin Klein makes undergarments. St. Joe's Hospital does medical care. I was told by an officer of a sheriff's department of local sheriff, when I was out for a fresh air break, he came up and drove up, didn't have a gun on his hip, but he had a Revis. And he had an FBI acoustic. I'm like, he's wearing the green. Okay. He had his little patch. Didn't have a badge on his leg. Didn't have a gun on his belt. Wasn't wearing a utility belt. But he had a Revis tucked in his shirt. On his pant belt. I'm like, oh, is this a security guard or patrol masters? I don't know. He told me, "Go back to your house." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't question it. I never question an officer like that. I never question them. So it's like I went back to the house, back to the apartment here. I'm like, okay, I don't smoke cigarettes, but yeah, Sable. Um, break over. Anyway, I don't know what his problem was, but I told him about the job I got that I applied for, and he says blatantly, "No militia." I'm like, what the heck? I'm a free man, I thought. I don't know what his problem is, do I? No, I asked the chief. I said, "Is it okay if I do PI work for Knight Rider?" She goes, "Yeah, it's okay." I told her about Melendez, which is the name of the officer. I told her about him, and she's like, she went and had a talk with him, and they're dealing with him. But thing is, you guys can tell what I'm trying to say. I don't know. He's against it. He doesn't know. So I'm trying in this live stream to educate all of you about these traditional American things. And like I said before on Antifa subject, obstruction, disestablishmentarianism, it's high treason. Anyway, I hope I can get a call sign soon, because I'd really like to be able to have a call sign. So anyway, I'm gonna cut this short. My Instagram, Wentz_photography. That's WENDTS_photography. Have a look at my photos. I do nature. I don't do naughty. Don't worry. Don't ask me to do naughty. You can slide into my DMs if you're a lawful person. I don't want to talk to any hussies. Thank you, and good morning to you, and good day.